Good morning and welcome to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you joining us today. If you're watching this live, thank you for that. If you're listening to the recording later or the video later, appreciate that as well. Livingston Parish News is on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. If you ever miss any of these shows, you can always check them out, www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We post them all there. If there's ever a show you want to go back and watch, you missed a couple because you were out of town, anything of that nature, we keep archives of these. We're actually in the process of separating them out between the morning show, which you see me here at 7:30. We do one at 4:30 p.m. called the afternoon show. We also have a long-form podcast. Sometimes it's me talking on a subject, trying to parlay information. Sometimes I have a guest. We're having a lot of guests get scheduled here, moving into the last couple of weeks before early voting starts and then the election. Want to remind folks, and we'll get a little more into this in a second, that the election on October 12th, that is actually the same day as LSU Florida. It is also the Saturday of the Livingston Parish Fair. So we're going to talk about early voting in a bit because there's a lot going on that Saturday. But remember, you can always check these shows out, www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. So let's get into your traffic this morning. It's pretty standard today. Delays on North 16 at Live Oak High School, north and south of the high school as people try to get their kids to school. Hatchell Lane and 16 in Denham Springs are pretty backed up because of Denham Springs Junior High, Denham Springs Elementary, as well as Denham Springs High School. Lots of heavy delays on I-12 westbound, which is also causing some heavy delays on Rushing Road going into 4-H Club. So some heavy delays on 190 and 4-H and River Road where they come into a confluence. 64 relatively open, so if you're looking for a back way into Baton Rouge, some minor delays heading into Central, but nothing crazy. Small delays at 190 and Jubin Road, as well as our new hotspot, our new favorite hotspot, North 447 at 1025. Some heavy delays there. Minor delays after the 10-12 split. Your weather today, it's currently 75 degrees. 89 is a high, so I guess it's starting to cool off a little bit, maybe get a little more into fall, I guess. Very slowly moving in that direction. Probably feel about like 95 today. 50% chance of afternoon thunderstorms, so could get a little reprieve with the weather. Jumping into it, first we want to talk about that early voting period. It starts a week from this Saturday the 28th. It will run to the next Saturday in October. Then there's a week break. Then there's the actual election on Saturday, October 12th. They will not be open on Sundays, but there will be two locations. There's the registrar's office in Livingston, and then there's the Denham Springs Walker branch of the Livingston Parish Library. They will be open every day from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. for early voting. That includes that first Saturday, September 28th. Please try to remember that October 12th has a lot of events going on. Polls do open early, but there's good reason to get it in early and go out and go ahead and vote. So please remember, early voting begins September 28th. That's a Saturday. And then it will run through the next Saturday. They do not work on Sunday. The two locations will be at the Denham Springs Walker branch of the library, hard to say early in the morning, as well as the Registrar of Voters office in Livingston. Those are your two early voting polling places. And please go cast your vote, as that Saturday of the election, October 12th, is both the LSU Florida game, and it's a home game, as well as the Saturday of the fair. So please keep that in mind. The first Saturday, of early voting is also the Lane Hardy concert. So please keep that in mind. Those gates open early, so if you're looking to avoid a lot of that traffic, although it may bring in a lot of voters, try to get there early that day. Remember, they do open at 8:30 a.m. They are asking those of you who go to the Livingston Parish, the Denham Walker branch of the Livingston Parish Library, park in the back because the polling place will be in the new construction area, trying to keep the library clear of all the noise and all the traffic. So please keep that in mind. A stained glass window in Springfield saved a church from a major burglary. If you weren't aware, many of the older stained glass windows, a lot of the reasons that they stay around as long as they do, is that not only is the frame, but the mold itself in which they put the glass is made of steel. And a burglar tried to break into the Methodist Church in Springfield only to find that unfortunately he did break out some of the stained glass, but he couldn't fit through the steel. So it did foil that burglar there. That story came from Mr. Kevin Fambro. We found out that the fiery, fatal accident on Friday on I-12 heading westbound near Springfield that involved several 18-wheelers in a vehicle that was caused by just a crowded road. The 18-wheeler was trying to get over, struck a car, and then overcorrected, shifted all the way across the median into oncoming traffic, smashed into another 18-wheeler. Both drivers were killed instantly. And then several other cars ended up in an accident. That's when the fire started. Pretty horrific. Please keep those families in your thoughts moving forward. It's a very tough stretch of road on I-12 between Baton Rouge and Hammond these days. Lots and lots of traffic. Lots of people moving through that area. So please be careful as you're driving through there. Utility rates are currently being discussed in Livingston. It's a tough situation for them. They're bonding out $5 million for a new sewer treatment plant, and they're trying to figure out if their current sewer rates will be able to keep and maintain not only the bonds, but the actual day-to-day maintenance and workflow of a sewer treatment plant. Mayor David McHugh asked the board for another month or so to look over the rates, maybe talk to some nearby cities of the same size or with the same size type plant to see what their rates are and how they fund it and how they operate it. He said he'd come back to the board with that. Will be interesting to see if they have to go up on their sewer rates with the new plant. That brings me also to do not forget that Ward 2 water has expanded. They've now taken in Port Vincent, so they moved a little south, expanded their customer base by about 500. The only two parish councilmen who are not served by Ward 2 water are Shane Mack in District 9 and Tab Lodeau in District 8, which is interesting. Gravity Drainage District 1 in the city of Denham Springs have teamed up trying to get the feedback of the community, try to learn a little bit about how much the community really knows, not just about flooding or anything like that, but stormwater retention, stormwater drainage, that kind of thing for these heavy storms that we're especially getting during the spring and summer now. They have a survey out there. It's online. You can either take it via a survey app or through your browser. Some interesting questions on there, including how do you handle personal stormwater retention? How do you what do you know about stormwater retention and stormwater drainage? Where do you now? It's for those inside the city limits. So please remember that it is a survey put on by the city of Denham Springs. So if you answer it from outside the city, I guess you can go ahead and do it. But if you're not within the city limits, they're probably going to throw your answers out. And they're also asking questions about a lot of this green infrastructure that's been brought up lately. How much do you know about it? What do you think is the best? That kind of thing. We're going to post the link to that survey on this live feed. We also have a story on our website. It's a free version, so you can check it out. It's at www.livingstonparishnews.com/breaking news. Please look for that. It's a pretty good survey. If you don't know what's going on, that's okay. They do have a phone number you can call. If some of those things you just have no idea. They even have answers that say, I'm not sure what this is. It's a good little educational piece. One of the more interesting questions is, how would you like to receive stormwater and drainage information? And they give you a couple of options. Of course, one is not the newspaper. So I was hurt. I was hurt right here. It hurt me. But I understand that there are people who don't read our paper. There are plenty of people who don't watch TV, that kind of thing. So they're trying to find the best and most consistent way to reach their customers, to reach their citizens. I'm sure they'll continue to talk to me, of course, but they are looking for something a little more steady. So my answer was my utility bill. I live inside the city limits of Denham Springs. So we will see how that turns out. Again, we will post the link to that survey under this Facebook Live post. We'll comment on the post, and you can have a chance to go answer those questions. Please remember that is for those who live inside the city limits of Denham Springs only. It is a combination project between Gravity Drainage 1 and the city of Denham Springs, who entered into a cooperative endeavor agreement not long after the flood because Denham realized they needed the help with their drainage. Gravity 1 realized that Denham is a huge part of their puzzle, which we talked about in our print edition about 6 weeks ago, and they needed access to these channels. They recently cleaned up Miller's Canal, which was a big problem for a lot of citizens right in central Denham Springs around Veterans Boulevard. So they should be seeing some relief from heavy rains and things of that nature in the near future. Denham Springs Hall of Fame banquet is Thursday. Tickets are still available. Let's see if we can't find out where you can get those tickets, because I'm sure that would be important. So that is usually put on excuse me. It's this Thursday, September 19th at 6:30, Forest Grove Plantation. It's catered. First come, first served basis for $50. If you are interested in tickets, call Laura Wingate at 225-665-8851. That event is usually spearheaded by Mr. Jim Spring, who does a great job. Former military man, very organized, very on point. So again, let me give you that phone number again. That's Miss Laura Wingate, who is selling tickets. They are $50 a piece for the Denham Springs Athletic Hall of Fame. 225-665-8851. Cross country, we kind of got that season, I don't know if you can call it a kickoff, runned off, or something like that. They started running this Saturday, first meet at the Highland Road Park course, which is in Baton Rouge. Tough course, very hard to find parking. But it's a very beautiful scene. You come up the hill and then you kind of look down into this valley, and it's a very great course. Now there are probably a lot of people out there that are like, I hate running. Well, I'm sure you can notice I'm not a big fan of it either. It's still a nice course. At any rate, Live Oak girls put in a pretty stellar finish with the top 10. They were 8th, led by a sophomore. So it's a very good indication of some things to come for that team. You can check that story out, www.livingstonparishnews.com/sports. William Weathers wrote it. Morgan Pruitt took the pictures. So please check those out for those guys. Everybody in that editorial department works very hard. Springfield Middle School visited Washington, D.C. over the summer. They went in June. 14 parents and 19 students who span grades 6 through 8 hit all the major attractions in the nation's capital. Ms. Jamie Webb caught up with a couple of students, parents, and teachers. You can check out that story at www.livingstonparishnews.com/living. It seemed like a very fun trip. Kids had a lot of fun, which is great, because the title of the story is "It Makes History More Relevant." So it's good for them to visit and see our nation's capital. One more time with your traffic. Let's get it wrapped up here. I've talked long enough. Oh my goodness. Okay. I-12 westbound backed up well past Juban at this point. Minor delays at Juban and 190. There must be an accident. Heavy delays at 190 4H Club Road and River Road as people try to avoid the interstate. Heavy delays stacking up on 64 heading into Watson. Still have a lot of traffic at 1025, which is Arnold Road, and North 447. So please check that out. Try to find another way in. 64 looks like your best way because there are some minor delays, only minor delays there at the moment. Traffic is so spread out that there is only minor delays after the 10-12 split. Your weather today is currently 75 degrees. 89 is your high with a 50% chance of thunderstorms. That 89 degrees is probably going to feel more like 93, 94. Again, appreciate you joining us today. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. We've got several guests coming up. Brian Abels will be on the show this Friday, the morning show. Next week, we have Mr. Steve McDaniel, who is running for Parish Council District 6. He will be on the morning show on Thursday. Buddy Mincy Jr., who is running for State Representative House Seat 71, will be on the morning show Friday. And then this is all leading into that early voting we talked about. And then Mr. Mr. Frog Talbert, who is running for Parish Council District 2, is coming back on the show to answer a few more questions about some things that are going on in Watson. He will be on the show in the afternoon on Friday at 4:30 p.m. Please remember that early voting begins next Saturday, not this upcoming Saturday, the 21st, but a week from then, September 28th. It runs through the next Saturday, not on Sundays. You can go to either the Denham Springs Walker Library, or you may go to the Registrar of Voters office in Livingston. They will be open from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day for you to go get your voting in. Please remember that that first day is the same day as the Lane Hardy concert. The reason early voting is being pushed so hard this year is because, is because the Florida game versus LSU, as well as the Saturday of Fair Week, are both the same day as Election Day, October 12th. So trying to find a way to make sure that some of the folks that would rather do those things and kind of want to vote, well, go ahead and go early. Go vote early. So again, those are our 3 guests so far that are coming up. We have about 5 or 6 more who are in the scheduling phases. We're trying to figure out when we're going to be able to get them on. Trying to get folks in before early voting, so those of you who watch an early vote have a chance to get on that train and find out what those folks are all about. Please remember that we're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We'd appreciate you liking us and sharing us there. If you watched this show live today, thank you for that. If you listened or watched later, we appreciate that as well. I know that I can tell you, my heavily edited voice, it's a lot easier and more palatable than me rambling on, I guess you can say, here in this room. So again, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you joining us today. We will be back this afternoon for our afternoon wrap-up. Lots of stuff going on today, plus our production. So we will see you this afternoon. Hope you have a great day.